I want to transition to this, and I just dropped it in the chat. Another link for you guys. If you haven't done this, I will encourage you to. But we have pulsepetition.org. Now, this was organized by KNTX, longtime Hexagon, a person who goes by the name Danny Spencer, that I've never heard of, but he is in on the creation of this amicus brief as well. And as we've already mentioned before, our friend Crypto Coffee. All these three gentlemen together have created an amicus brief filing on behalf of Richard Hart, which you can sign at pulsepetition.org right there in the chat. If you're unfamiliar with what an amicus brief is, so it's essentially a legal document that is filed by a third party, that being this group, who is not directly involved in a case, but has some interest or expertise in the issue at hand. So far, all these things seem to check the boxes. The purpose of an amicus brief is to provide additional information or arguments to the court that may help it make a decision. Amicus briefs are usually filed in appellate courts, such as the U.S. Supreme Court, where the cases have a broad impact on society, which kind of seems like it would come into play here with what we have going on. Amicus briefs can be filed by individuals, groups, organizations, or government entities that have a stake in the outcome of the case. For example, in a case about civil rights, an amicus brief may be filed by a human rights organization, a legal scholar, or a state government. Amicus briefs can support either side of the case or offer a neutral perspective. To file an amicus brief, one must obtain the consent of all parties involved in the case or the permission of the court. So essentially, yeah, that's what's being done here. Is there's a petition being signed, and I would encourage you all to read. It's very lengthy, but what is included in the petition on pulsepetition.org. I thought they worded it very, very well, very professionally done. And so far, we had somebody ask this earlier, but we're at about, I think it was actually either 3,000 or 3,500 signatures so far.
3,509.
Yeah, and those should be unique because you are, supposed to technically dox yourself. I mean, this is just going to the court, basically, is who it's going to be submitted to, because they want this to be entered into the baseless case by the SEC against Richard Hart, because, as we just described what an amicus brief is, it seems something to be very applicable in a case like this when, you have the SEC that doesn't really know anything that they're talking about, loses every case they seemingly file right now, and just kind of throw a bunch of shit at the wall to see what sticks. So I do think that this document is very helpful to them who don't know what they're talking about. And it has a lot of petitions. So take the time out to do that. It takes you just about 30 seconds. Yeah, but what do you make of this, Ewok? Once again, another one of these fantastic things done grassroots by people in the community. Just awesome that they took the time to do this. And it doesn't even seem, and I'm not taking anything away from them, but I think they even put an attorney on retainer as well with this. So yeah, what do you make of all this?
So it cost them about 10 grand out of pocket to do this.
Yeah.
They've paid for it, everything like that. If you want to donate to the address, there is one that's listed, but they're not asking anybody to help fund it because it's already been funded. The lawyer that they have retained is I forget what the guy's name is, but he's represented some bigger legal clients. I know he represented Kyle Rittenhouse,
right,
and got his sentence reduced quite drastically. So he knows what he's doing in the courtroom. You do have to dox yourself because it does go to the judge. They could call you just to make sure that you're a real live person, because if we fill out a bunch of bots and fake phone numbers and they start getting numbers that don't exist, they'll essentially throw it away. So it has to be real people. Unfortunately, there's no way around it. You do have to dox yourself. Again, it's not going to the IRS. It's not going to anyone like that. And they're not asking for any financial information. If anything, you would get a phone call to ask if you really are supporting this and why. So at least do your homework a little bit if you sign it, so that if they do call, what you're signing, so that you can show your concern, again, if you do happen to get the phone call. But yeah, I think it's a great movement that these guys have taken upon themselves. It could get some traction. I don't know if you saw or not. Johnny Chaos had posted something, but imagine if there was some sort of financial penalty for them bringing suit of a negligent suit like this, and there were reparations that had to be made to people for the harm that they've caused. I mean, it's happened before. It's not likely, but it has happened. And if the one of the best things that come out could say, throw this case out. I mean, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Here's a group of people that have laid out the whole thing in front of me, and it doesn't make sense. So it could get thrown out as well. So there's a lot of good things that can come out of this. So yeah, I mean, we would appreciate you to take the 30 seconds and just sign it. So
yeah, it just, once again, another thing by people in this community that is just awesome for them to organically do. You're not going to see this stuff in Solana. You're not going to see this stuff in Matic. You're not going to see it in these new L1s and L2s that are launching. This is just a totally different thing.
Sign it too. I mean,
they won't.
Anybody.
I mean,
I understand, but anybody can sign it. It's not just not just for Hex, but I mean, we can create a movement to help all of crypto.
Yeah, that's the shame of the thing. Yeah, is that a lot of people in crypto have decided to turn against Hex and everything. I guess because they don't like crypto in some strange twist of events. Don't appreciate real DeFi, and like things that aren't DeFi. But whatever, what can you do? But hey, we support them. We support XRP and their win over the SEC, and yeah, it'd be nice to have the support of others. But hey, we got a lot of people within the ecosystem that are obviously supporting it and signing it, and I think that this cycle will be the further. Last cycle was the cycle of FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, all these scammers that wear suits. Okay, forget about the scammers that wear suits. Forget about the suits being the legitimate people, and look at the people that wear Prada and strange outfits and dance on cars and stuff like that. Like, that's really who we should be paying attention to.
Be careful of some of them too, because
yeah, some of them, but Richard Hart seems to be fine. But yeah, that's what I think people need to start doing in crypto. I doubt that many of them will do it. But hey, maybe this will be the cycle that people start to understand what legitimate real DeFi is after everything that failed so badly that was not DeFi last cycle. So yeah, so pulsepetition.org, check that out. Takes 30 seconds to sign it. Very, very easy. And yeah, we'll be on our way. We'll see what happens with that later on this month anyway. So shout out to those guys again. That's KNTX, Danny Spencer, and Crypto Coffee. So thank you guys.